Welcome to AFReats podcast. My name is Claudine Fox, and I am your moderator for this lovely discussion around food, the Black diaspora, and just having some really great cross-cultural conversation with these lovely panelists sitting up here. The aim of this podcast and the podcast moving forward is to really bring community together and have good conversation, eat good food, and exist in harmony. So moving on, I'll have my panelists introduce themselves. Whoever wants to go first.
Start, Patrick.
My name is Patrick Rigo Williams. I'm a writer, I'm an educator, I'm an advocate. I am out here in these streets. And I love to eat food. So like this works out perfectly for me. Like I'm great.
What's your nationality, my friend?
Oh, I'm Jamaican. Born and raised. All that good stuff.
All right, y'all. My name is Kamani. I am a Black American from both the North and the South. Very rich history. I'm an environmental engineer and the owner of the Key Bookstore.
Yes.
Okay. I'll follow you on Instagram. That's the same thing. Like that's how I know.
And so the format of this is that myself, Kamani, and Patrick will be able to taste 3 different courses of food, an appetizer, an entree, and a dessert. And I'm going to ask them some questions and we're going to have some conversation. I would also like to send a quick shout out to our chef today, Masem. And so whenever you're ready, Masem, we'll take the first course.
My body is ready.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let you guys try it and see what you figure out, and then I can say what's in it. Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So off rip.
Talk about it.
This looks like some like tortilla chips with the corn salsa. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. Like, this looks very familiar.
Tell me more. Not like we've maybe
tried it
before. I don't know.
So like obviously the corn is there, right? But the foundation of this thing, the chip that we're referring to, looks like a plantain. Huh? A plantain.
No.
Plantain.
No, plantain.
All right, so
It's plantain.
Plantin.
Thank
Plantain.
you. Plantain.
Right, so
In Creole, we call it banan.
banana. All right. So like, so it's like a cousin of a banana.
Tell me more.
Huh?
Describe
No,
it
I don't really
more.
know the family
I'm
like that.
really,
Like,
I'm
like,
really
just, like,
enjoying this.
No, it's just like it's so again, it's like so there's obviously like there's a corn and like what is sweet pepper reduction thing on top. Like I don't know. I just like to say stuff like that.
Did you already eat yours?
Huh?
You can't see me behind you.
No, not the cat.
I'm like, you still over there?
Yeah, I finished mine.
Okay, so what we taste?
Yeah, it tastes like that kind of thing. Like corn salsa. Now, I grew up in California, like, around a bunch of Mexicans. And so, yeah, like salsa and chips before we start all of those meals, like that's the thing. Yeah.
So when we first edited, like we were like having a conversation about what it tasted like. So again, plantain came up, but we weren't sure where it was. We didn't know if it was like in the liquid. We didn't know where it was, like because we all thought it was a tortilla chip as well. So like, and then like they told us like it was actually the flavor was coming from what the shell was, and it's like so now I'm kind of confused as like what the liquid was that kind of kept it together, right? So like because it's tangy and it's sweet and it's like a really nice. I don't want to say sweet and sour, but it's something in that vein as far as like the taste is concerned. And like I'm just not sure. Now I'm confused as to what that is.
It tasted like the sweet pepper, like they made some kind of sauce with the sweet pepper, and that's how they like combine the corn and the onion and all of that
The
together.
reduction.
Yes, the reduction.
Yeah.
We're reducing stuff over here.
It tastes like corn and peppers to me. I mean,
You free to have some more if you want to dig a little deeper in it.
be a journey to get to it. So.
No, I got you. I'm going to you.
Yes, so let's have some clarity on what we're eating, Masem.
So what you're eating is, as a Cameroonian, as a West African, and we do call it plantain.
Yes.
Plantain.
The right way.
I absolutely love fried plantains. So a plantain chip is the best thing for me to put. And my mom is an agronomist, so if anybody knows what an agronomist is, it's her PhD is in agriculture. So we grew a lot of things, and corn was one of them. We grew a lot. I know too much about corn. So making a corn salsa with no tomatoes, just the corn, the peppers, and the onion. And of course, when you're making a salsa like that, you kind of pickle it a little, so that's where you're getting the sweetness.
Okay. The vinegar, I got you.
Yeah, so that's what that is.
Nice.
Come through. Come through.
Agronomist. Okay.
So, yeah, I think we might be ready for the next course.
Thinking.
Jesus is the light.
Is there rice?
Light at the work.
We're about to eat some rice. Oh, and banana.
Oh, no, hold on. It's like,
So
it
smell
smells
it.
like
It does smell
saltfish.
like fish.
It smells like saltfish, right?
I don't know saltfish, but
It's just a really salty fish.
I can't. So let's smell it, let's taste it, and tell me about the flavors that you're experiencing. If it reminds you of anything, we already kind of got the saltfish reference.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it some more.
I mean, this looks like collard greens or something. Like, looks like greens.
Mm-hmm.
So this is spinach, right? But like it reminds me of callaloo.
Callaloo?
So like we so in Jamaica, I haven't seen as much of it here, and the accent's coming out. So I haven't seen as much of it here. But the thing is, like, it's essentially the green that we would eat with like a lot of Jamaican dinners, like actually breakfast as well. But like it's so kind of it takes me to that place where like we're having callaloo and saltfish like that. So that's the association where it's like it smells like a Jamaican breakfast, and then like rice because
rice is everything.
yeah, exactly. I eat like mad nasty.
Thank you for letting the accent come out. I appreciate that. Okay, so what are we tasting in this?
Yeah, the greens, like they taste like greens to me. Like I don't know.
Yes.
Like,
Period.
Yeah.
Period.
That's what it tastes like.
I've never had like plantains like cut this way.
Like filleted down the middle.
Yeah, but then they're salty too, right? So it's like it's sweet. Sorry, I'm eating.
Eat and talk.
Yeah. So it's like, but it's also like it's sweet. It's ripe plantain. It's fried ripe plantain, but it's also it's salty and like usually like we'll put salt on like the fried green plantain, right? So like that I wasn't expecting it from the green plantain, and then it's just like this is it's rice, and I'm saying this in like in the best way possible because I love rice.
This reminds me of one of my favorite Haitian dishes. So we have this thing called legume. Legume, where it is literally just a mash combination of mad vegetables. So there's eggplant, there's greens, there's onion, there's yam, sometimes you can do it with meat, sometimes you don't have to do it with meat, sometimes you could do it with lumbi, which is conch, sometimes you do it with crab. There's just like so many different things in there, and you eat it over rice, and that is like my birthday meal because legume is just so comforting. And so like holding this bowl and smelling it and tasting it,
The warmth.
It reminds me of legume.
But also like, so for me, like it's, as someone who's coming from like the grips of poverty, I said I was gonna get it in there. No, but it's something that you could consider a struggle meal, because it's not really expensive to reproduce. So we're talking about rice, we're talking about kalalua like spinach. We're talking about plantains. It's like it's not an expensive meal to make. And like that's kind of something that like so the reason that rice is a staple is because it's like super easy to make and it's super cheap, right? So like things like that, things like dumpling and so on and so forth, like those things are like they're struggle meals, but they taste really well. It's one of the they're struggle meals, but again, like they fill you up, and it's just like it's something that's easy to create. It's something that's cost effective, and it's just like it's so for me. We didn't have a lot of money, but we had a lot of food because again, and food became a part of like the love language, right? So for good or for bad, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those like so. This feels like this feels like love to me. Like it just feels comforting. Everything that you're saying, as far as it being like a comforting thing, like the warmth of the plate, like it just feels like home.
My heart.
I think that's interesting that you say that you didn't have a lot of money, but you had a lot of food. I grew up with the opposite experience. So I have a very like survival relationship with food, like going to work and things like that. All of it is so that way I can make sure I'm making money so I can fill my fridge beyond probably what I can actually eat.
Yeah.
So, I think that's interesting that food was still a priority in your household like that.
Food is my love language, like for real. So I have a quote, and I'm gonna read it, and I would love for y'all to tell me your first reactions. So, food is everything. Excuse me, Patrick. Do we need a timeout? Food is everything we are. It's an extension of nationalist feeling, ethnic feeling, your personal history, your province, your region, your tribe, your grandma. It's inseparable from those from the get-go. And that's by Anthony Bourdain. So,
I love Anthony Bourdain.
Should I read it again?
I just don't have that sort of relationship with food. I just don't think about it that much. Like, when I hear other people speak so passionately about food and what it means to them and what they associate it with their culture, I just don't connect with that.
I have a question. Do you think that connects to like your roots, your nationality, your background, or is that just you, just how you are?
I feel like that must connect all throughout because I would be able to associate food with my connections with people, right?
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah.
That's just not part of my experience, which is interesting.
Yo, that's really fascinating.
So I love Anthony Bourdain because he's able to do like he found like, and I think it's the same thing that the AFReats is doing right here too. Like the idea that like food for most people like is a uniter, right? So like it works in that way too. So he found a device where he's talking about food, but also through talking through food, he's talking about politics, right? So and the way and the intersections of like food and like, who has what, who can afford what, like who eats where, blah blah blah. He's having all these conversations around food and access, right? And it's just like I think it's a beautiful way to kind of discover the world and connections through food, because again, the idea of nationalism, like it's hard to be a national. Like I saw a quote recently, and I can't tell you the whole thing, but it's like it's hard to be a nationalist nowadays because again, you're gonna like something from somewhere else. Like so, I can be racist all day, all night, or whatever. But like, if I really love oxtails, do I really love like it's just like because it's hard to like divorce yourself from like how food and food culture kind of moves, right? So like. Someone may have an issue with Hispanic people, but like you said, like if you're in California and you're eating like the corn, it's hard to hate the people but also love their stuff, right? So because again, like for me, I think the food is the essence of like kind of who the people are, right? So like I can say I can be on some nationalist stuff, but then again, but I really like tacos, right? Like, there's a disconnect there. I can probably go further into it at some point. I need to think this through more, but I think there's kind of a disconnect there, like a cognitive disconnect.
and it literally happens though, right? Like I remember being in that Mexican restaurant right up the street from here, Coyote Flaco, and there was a table full of white folks just talking about Trump and how they support number 45's policies.
Flacco.
But they're sitting there like eating at this authentic ass Mexican restaurant, consuming the food and talking about how they support his policies. So it just doesn't make sense.
But like, fuck the people.
But fuck the people. Sorry, language.
That's my fault, I'm sorry.
Right, but maybe that's, them not making that same relationship that like you guys are talking about, that connection, the food with the people.
Right.
Because anybody can prepare the food, really.
That's facts.
And same thing how you said region. Like, there's a lot of different people, especially out here on the East Coast, from all over the place. And a lot of the people here are eating foods from where they're from rather than what's created here.
Okay.
So I feel like some of it's, up to interpretation.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've noticed like there's a lot of white people that like own Mexican restaurants out here.
That's
it tastes like trash. But
Facts.
But they do it, and somebody loves it. And somebody finds comfort in it. So it's like,
That's true. All right. So what's the ingredients, Masem?
So, Cameroonians, we call vegetables jama jama. Like any vegetable for the most part is jama jama. But that is spinach. And I literally just did, for lack of a better term, this would be a struggle meal. And it's one of those meals where you're just like, what am I going to do? Back home, it's like, but here it's like comforting to me, right? So instead of using regular oil, I use palm oil. That's where the redness comes from. And then with the saltfish, it's actually crayfish. So we cook with crayfish, which is crawfish, dried up and blended into a powder, which is now a seasoning. So you're not actually having the actual fish, you're having the powder as
But it's there.
It's our adobo. Yes.
Nice.
So that's what's in there, and you have your regular garlics and gingers and all of that, and your onions, and then of course rice, because rice. And
Understood.
That's like the quote from this. Rice.
we fry the plantain like that, and we call it dodo. And dodo is like the most basic form of comfort for any West African. Like anywhere in West Africa you go, you say I have dodo, they're eating.
Okay, thank you.
Still warm.
So, right. So we are on to our third course, right? Any last thoughts around this conversation that we were having?
No, like it's like I'm good.
Yeah, I would just say that growing up in my Black household, like what we would eat a lot too was because of the region and just the culture. Like my mom would make enchiladas often, and like we would eat tacos and stuff like that, and they'd be banging. Yet and still, like it's just how everything. It's kind of like a melting pot in California. You just do what you. Came up as a silent killer here.
Brother.
Thank you. Moving on.
So we've got our third course, dessert. Let's inspect, let's taste. What do we have going on here?
Like a pound cake? Yeah. Pound cake, what's that? This is like, I'm not big on, I'm not gonna say I'm not big on fruits, but like, I know strawberry, this is a blackberry, right?
Yes. Yes, boo.
You either. Stop.
Okay, so what are we tasting?
That cake is very sweet. Wow.
So like I put there's like a crunch on it before I even got to it.
Wow.
I'm hearing a lot of wild over there.
It's I like sweet. This is very sweet. I wanted whipped cream today.
It's like they knew. It's like they knew. Oh my goodness.
It's like, oh my God. It was like a crispy, and I was going to say that. But then like the familiar taste of pound cake just hit the back of my throat.
Can you tell me more about that? What do you mean familiar taste of pound cake?
How does one describe pound cake? Like,
why is it familiar?
It's also a struggle cuisine. Like look, again, money wasn't always there. No, but it's sweet. It's yellow cake-ish, but like a little bit more moist.
Mm-hmm.
I just had like a lot of pound cake. I'm sorry.
Growing up.
That's why it's familiar.
So my next question is about your relationship to dessert in general and growing up with dessert. Was that a thing for you?
No.
Oh, I used to race to it all the time. Yeah. Even if I couldn't make it through the entree, I'd try and get the dessert. That was my comfort, I'd say.
Yeah.
Comfort, definitely in the desserts. I can remember from New Year's, my aunt would always have these lemon bars that were hella sweet. Yeah, and for me, when I started to learn how to cook, I would bake myself entire cakes. That's that struggle thing too. Like desserts are very filling. So then at least once I got to dessert, I'd be so full that I don't have to think about being hungry, you know? So
It's like a survival mechanism in there too. Like,
yeah.
So did you have dessert frequently in your house growing up?
I'd find some sort of way.
Some sort of way to get it. Heard.
So with me, it was like, so I was born and raised in Jamaica. I came up when I was 15.
Yeah.
And it's like, dessert wasn't like a huge thing. It was more of a perk, or like, oh, something good happened or whatever. Or so like we had like it wasn't necessarily ice cream trucks, but we had dudes on the bikes with the ice cream in the back. They probably rode around with like 2 flavors. And they pulled up, and it's like, so it wasn't a regular thing, because it was always like, oh, it's the same thing with pizza, right? So like pizza used to be an event, right? That's kind of what it was. Dessert was kind of an event, or like it was something happened, somebody's birthday, blah blah blah. We saw the ice cream truck, the ice cream things or whatever, like the back juice person. Like it was one of those where like it was an event. It wasn't like we're gonna have dessert every day. And then you come to America and you're like, so my mother's like was a nurse's aide, like she was a home health aide. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So she was at home, but she was actually in the home with them, right? So like, so she was a home health aide, and she was in like a Caucasoid dwelling. With mad caucasity. Yeah, so like, but yeah, like, so she was there, and it was like, that's kind of where it was like, oh, y'all eat ice cream every night? Like, that's what we doing? Like, so like, it's kind of like, it's a shift of that, right? So it's like, it wasn't something that, and even to me, like, if we're talking about like Frosted Flakes or whatever, like the only cereal I knew growing up was we had the only one that I knew growing up was like Kellogg's Frosted Flakes, right?
Me too.
But then you come up here and you're in the store, you're like, yo, there's so many different versions.
Cereals.
Like, and it's just like so much excess. So it's like, now it's like so touchable, tangible, gettable. Now I have a job, I can go buy it, right? But like, it kind of like took away the appeal of that. Whereas like, again, it used to be something you kind of look forward to, because it didn't happen all the time.
Right.
Maybe that's a big difference, is access. Because California too. I mean, restaurants are like an entire culture. There's so much food out there everywhere. So to try different cuisines and just be a part of eating anything and everything, it's not like you really have to eat the same thing every week, every day kind of thing. So maybe access to food is a big differentiator in our experiences.
Yeah, I can see that.
Thank you for teasing that out. Yes.
California, there's massive access to food everywhere.
Right.
Grocery stores on every corner, restaurants every corner, blah blah blah.
The climate's different for like planting and growing.
Right,
too.
growing stuff.
We gotta ship our stuff.
Always gonna have fresh fruit and vegetables and things like that. So,
wow. So that got deep real quick. So out of the 3 things we just ate, what was your favorite?
This.
This
I
is
love
dessert?
berries. She gave me my whipped cream. I really wanted whipped cream.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
This is delightful.
Mm.
What do you call this now?
It's not called anything. So
It's called God.
I have a
That's God.
Put
It's
my
God
name
right
on
there.
it. I'm
It's
about to
God
put my
right
name
there.
on it. Yep.
I have a 7-year-old, and he, like you said, is obsessed with dessert. Because he would go to his grandparents or his godmothers, and they would give him dessert all the time. And I combined my love for pound cake, which back home, everybody made pound cake, right? If you went to something and there wasn't pound cake, you'd be looking around like, whose auntie didn't do
What they were supposed to do. Mm-hmm.
Whose job was it to make the pound cake?
And, I actually never ate whipped cream till I moved to America when I was 16. So then I had this I love whipped cream. So what better thing to, it's dessert. You have the pound cake, which is like the staple. I love fruit and berries and whipped cream. It's perfect. It's like my own interpretation of a strawberry shortcake.
Yes.
In one bite.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. So Pat, Trick, what was your favorite? It was a empty plate.
Right.
When I couldn't stop on. I really love the spinach one. But this was, again, you can see it's done. But I'm somewhere between those 2.
Yeah.
Because again, this is this takes me somewhere.
Yeah.
This is it's just really nice.
Yeah.
I feel like you could feel struggle when you were eating that. I don't know how to describe that.
Oh.
I couldn't relate it to a struggle meal per se, but in my experience with eating it, it felt like it was a struggle eking it.
Mm.
So that's the thing. Even with
Not
that sounds like shade.
no shade whatsoever.
I was trying to just let that slide.
Felt like
I
it
know
was a
she
struggle
didn't.
eating
I
it.
know she didn't mean shade.
I don't mean shade whatsoever. I'm just literally talking about the experience of
No, I got you.
of eating it.
I got you. No,
Dive deep with me, people.
But even for me, when I say struggle me, it's not from a place of consternation. It's not like me saying it's a bad thing. It's because the thing about struggle meals is they are comforting. Would it be the corned beef and cabbage, stuff it does something for you, and it's you get to a point where you don't necessarily need the struggle meal.
Nah.
But it hits you different.
It brings you back.
It was there for you.
It was there for you.
That's kind of what it is. Like I said, that kind of took me somewhere versus this just being really dope.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
I think what I would describe as maybe it was a struggle meal, but that was my favorite meal was the chicken and dumplings my mom would make. Craved it. It's so, and there's not a vegetable in sight, but it's really, really good.
Oh man. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for this rich conversation. I really appreciate y'all bringing your whole selves to the plates and to this couch. So tune in next time for the AFReats podcast and follow us on social media. We're on Instagram at AFReats, AFREATS. I don't know if there's an underscore. There's an underscore, right?
Underscore egg.
The underscore ink.
Can you just
yes.
put it on the thing?
Yeah.
Edit it?
Yes. And tune in next time. Thank y'all.
Thank you all for this experience too. It's really dope. To be a part of it.
Had a great time.
Thank you.